skip a level. We skip a level from yeah, because last level it was 2 and 4. We skip a level. Because last level it was okay, they changed it in the last second because embarrassing. Ja, das ist das will dann auch dafür umsorgen. Die können nur nachschauen. Also ja, wir haben ja gefragt, das ändert sich erst, wenn er Zeit passt, aber so fixe Reflexe gibt es nicht. Das wir brauchen. 20 Martin Race, Modern Re-Race League, Aspen usually big brands, Jam, 40 PB, Seven All Kings. Alle gute Stakeholder. Ich glaube, jeder gut kennt. Bla, das war so wichtig. Und dann bin ich zweiter an der Woche. Ich habe gewonnen wieder. Ich glaube 10.000 Jahre. Ja, das ist halt jeder
Yeah, but after break. No, he didn't tell me exactly, but they know about it and they will decide.
Because it's a big disadvantage.
Even the big leg on hand, they played 4 or 5 hands probably outside, so it's all good. Yeah, the first hand took 5 minutes. The tournament director said it will change for sure, but they usually use okay.
Potem się dało przebrać.
Yeah. How much about you started the day and Charles? How much about you started the day today?
So apologies there, guys. We are back now for day 2 coverage of the Bratislava Poker Festival main event. As we see there, Verdnich in a small blind with pocket aces. He's raised it up and got a caller from Cody Rubin in the big blind with 10-9. Potential trouble here for Cody, who has a good shot and a diamond in hand here. Well, lose one bet, if not a couple, depending on running out. Oh, and would you believe it? 8-ball corner pocket. Verdnich going to be very much blindsided. Interesting to see how he proceeds. Facing at about a 13k here with the nuts. Bumps it up to 30, and tough spot now for Verdnich. The board has got a little coordinated. Obviously 2 flush draws. He's going to stick around for a river. Well, there's a river that might save him. He does have the ace of hearts in hand if he wants to turn his hand into a bluff, but that seems a little adventurous and not a great card for Coco. No longer with enough. Will still pursue value, but probably can't go for as big a sizing here on a 4. Looks like he's bet 40k, a pot of about 100k. I like this sizing. It's just so hard for Verdnich to be beating anything anymore. Pocket aces really doesn't look great right now. Almost prefer the idea of turning his hand into a bluff, which I don't think is possible when your opponent has only 16k each. Can probably get away here, just doesn't beat anything right now. It has pretty bad. And can't say I blame either player for their lines throughout that one. Trying to get the information now is Verdnich. Tough spot. My name is David Lappin, and I will be taking you through day 2 and final day coverage tomorrow of this Bratislava Poker Festival main event. We had some live streams over the last couple of nights. We showcased the KK Poker Catherine and the Mystery Bounty final table. Last night we had the one day final table. But it's all business now in the main event for the next. €100. First place is one up.
Out.
Only the beautiful people on the feature table. Only the beautiful people. And me. Anya, they just wanted some eye candy back in Ireland. They just wanted some eye candy.
Have you got a muzzle? Have you got a muzzle for him?
Use the one you used last night. Hey! Where did you get the patch? Where did you get it? When did you get it? About 5 seconds ago. Paul.
Seconds now. Rash Barrow, 5 seconds.
Okay, now can
Just gonna lift. Fire here. First shoot. Guessing game fake. That's just things else. There in the eighth. Popular Irish player. Sometimes at poker events.
So color coordinated today. Look at this. So color coordinated. Look, it's like that's actually not
Satowski now with the ace queen and the small blind. Look to limp in, set the trap. And look at this, Calaric may well take the bait here. I want to play the 6-2 and turn bottom of range to a raise. This line just take it down here. That is not going to work here, and one expects, given the 5x nature of it, and Tofsky would. Well, I'm a bit surprised. I thought it would come over the top for a hole, but plenty in the middle after Calaric. Almost 5x seemed like a perfect situation to this premium ace queen as played. Just made the call, but a very favourable queen 10-4. Even got the backdoor spades working here. Calaric likely to put that in, try and take this one away. Not given the option to do so. So a little bit back to front on this one on Tofsky. Would have expected he's initially. Then once he limped, I certainly would have expected the limp shove. Gives himself the opportunity to get more chips in. Phil Baker now in the big blind. Berlewski, 61k, 10 big blinds. Happy to extend it here with the 10s as well. He should. Action fold around to Phil Baker, who I think will give him a spin here with suited. The races here for 131k. Phil Baker 404k behind, so going to touch 30 if he wins this one. One of the biggest stacks in the room. Well, 9 of diamonds interacting a little bit with Baker's hand. He's got some backdoor potential, but mostly still pursuing the ace or queen. There is the ace. We'll send good loose packing here. Consequential 8 over. And there's a Mahan stage right. Building quite the hefty stack here is Phil Baker. In a good spot now. Starting stack was 40k, so sitting on around about 13 stacks right now. 2x what would be required for an average stack at the bubble.
21 again? Is that 21 again? It's actually today,
Queen 9 of diamonds tempting for Antowski here. He's going to limp in. Phil Baker getting a discount now. He can complete for just 3k here with a suited king. No reason not to limp in here. Might even have design applying some pressure. Call. And Kozuski happy to take a free one here. So the diamond smothered here. Phil Baker in a good spot. But they have both been outflopped by the big blind of Kozuski, who makes 2 pair here on this 7-4-4 texture. Jack of diamonds now on the turn. There's an action card, both Baker and Antowski with flush draws. Kozuski is going to bet at it here. Just 59k in his stack. He's going to probe with 8k. I can't see that shaking either player right now. So still 3 ways to the river, and it is the diamond. My goodness me. Phil Baker about to win a very big pot, one would suspect. Kozuski unlikely to bet again here. Obviously staring at a couple of overcards and backdoored flush. I think what's really interesting now is if Kozuski checks this one, Antowski is certainly going to bet his queen high flush draw. And does Baker find a raise? That's the question. I think it will depend on sizing. If Antowski goes very big here, pot or over bet, he might just get flatted. If he goes half pot, I think Baker will look to raise this one up. Looks like a very quick call from Phil. Bet it was about 25k, yeah, 25.5k. I'm liking to see Phil consider a raise in that spot. I think it's pretty reasonable. Maybe slightly more than click it back. Taken out our student. Open. He's up on the button. As we take a quick gander at the chip counts, Phil Baker over 100 bigs now, 610k. What a session this has been. Came in with a lot of chips, but building a very, very impressive stack right now. beef with 75%. Well, small samples and all that, but he has been quite low. Tofsky with a very openable king jack suited here in early position, playing around about 22 big blinds. He's going to limp scene a few, let's call them non-standard plays for Mantowski. Seems to want to keep the pot small, plays quite a passive style. Recognising that Alaric is going to raise it to 25k with the a7, looking to isolate and Berdinich. Big hand here, blind, probably very aware of exactly that dynamic, limping a lot. Alaric has looked to isolate him already in this short session, so Berdinich can feel very good about these queens, probably look to induce Alaric with a raise to something in the region of 65-70k would be nice. 82k is the decision, so it goes a little larger. I don't hate that out of position. I think when the stacks are shallow, you could probably play it a little bit riskier and go for a smaller size, but this is a perfectly nice size if they were deeper, and we'll get the job done in this instance. Alaric was looking to isolate his opponent. It's a weak ace. See there, Rashbauer, the real mover at your table, but still very active, and 140k to the good so far in this session. He had already brought a very big stack into day two. Berdinich now with the openable ace-10 here on the button. More than happy to get involved. It looks as though Rashbauer is interested here, yes. Queen 9 suited, more than qualifies. Likely to come with the call, I feel, but never know. Consider a light 3-bet as well. Raises to 17k from Berdinich, 3x, so I think that gives you reason to probably just call most of the time here. Indeed he does. And a little something for everyone here. Berdinich connecting with that 10. He's got two pairs, 10s and 8s. Rashbauer with the gutter and over. Probably not going away to one bet unless it is a very big bet. Checks it over to Rashbauer, and Rashbauer will fire 14k, so it does down bet here. I like the sizing. Doesn't have to feel too worried right now. His opponent obviously could have some 8x, but what you really want to do is build a pot for an inferior 10 that's in big trouble, or bring some of these draws along for the ride. You have the ace of spades, I should say, in hand as well, which is potentially relevant down the streets. And look at this, Rashbauer does step out to sides. He's going to rep this paired board. And Berdnich more than happy to come along here with the Nook 10. Rashbauer, will he continue his story here? Or was he just one in that raise? Two flush draws on board now. If he bets again, he is very much polarizing himself to an 8. Decides to check it, and interesting spot now for Verdnich, whether he wants to bet here, risking opening the door to a check raise, or does he want to just check it back and maybe give a draw the opportunity to overtake. He is going to bet it himself. And Rashbauer facing about a 32k here into a pot of about 110, roughly a third. Can never really call this bet, so maybe wondering, is there merit to the double check raise? It would be quite spicy. And that's exactly what he's done. The double check raise on 10, 8, 8. And now the 2 of clubs turn. Looks like Verdnich going to be sticky here. Feels like he's induced this play. Decided to buckle up, one suspects. And all draws miss on river. Rashbauer have this 151k effective half pot shove in him. Interesting hand, this one. Look at this, he's going for it. Oh, this. Well, Verdnich watching his opponent counting out a big bet by the looks of things, and he has polarized himself to middles and an 8 with this line. 75k on, so not putting him in blender, just half of his remaining stack. Great call from Verdnich. Rashbauer, almost that bet was designed to fold out missed draws and for opportunity to bluff. He did all of it and really tries the 10. Interesting line, going for the double check raise and then small bet on river. So that's 10, 8, 8 to double flush draw board. Interesting hand. Credit to both players, one for creativity there. Ill-advised as it may have been in the end. Gotta give credit for the moxie. And Verdnich decided he was going to be sticky. This one with the early position open with the ace-4. Verdnich happy to come along with the pocket sixes, partially set mine. Stealing that position from him though was potentially Cody Rubin with the queen 8 suited tempter, but he lets it go. And Grantowski, who we've seen generally take passive lines, even in this small sample of 20 or so hands, just calling with the 9s. A perfectly good squeezable spot, it must be said, being turned down in favour of a passive approach. players see the flop of 8-4, 2 hearts. So Kalaric with the bottom pair and hearts, which staring at 2 overcards, and Antowski just 1 overcard to his 9s. This one checks through. 2 of diamonds on the turn. Doesn't change much. Interesting to see if Antowski will probe with his 9s. Now again, passive play. Kalaric wouldn't mind a bet from him here. He could be depriving his opponents of some bit of equity denial, but also has the kind of hold, and he makes his hand on the river nuts, and he can proceed aggressively, having built a little pot. Played though, his vert takes a stab with the 6s, and Tovsky now playing a bit of a guessing game, but since it went check through on the flop, I think he should be calling here. And then, interesting spot for Kalaric. Will be able to just call and see if he can hit that heart river. Wow, what a fold from Monkey. Folding the best hand right now. Calling with the 9s pre, only seeing 1 over, and then folding to 1 after 2 on flop. It's very, very nitty. Kalaric more than happy to call here, get it right direct price. We see there that Tovsky's hand would have held, and very likely that nobody would have bet at this river, so an opportunity wasted for him and his short stack. Kalaric obviously has some showdown here with the 4, so I expect this to go check check. And Berdnich will be delighted to see his 6s have managed to bag this one, and Antowski just taking a sip of water, contemplating what might have been, maybe questioning the line he took. Had a great opportunity to squeeze shove that one free. Great opportunity on the turn. Turned down both and ended up holding the best hand. Action-packed weekend of poker we've got for you here at the Bratislava Poker Festival 2024. All eyes on the main event for the next couple. That's the big game. 500k guarantee. 7 through the bubble. Which I would expect to go maybe more level, maybe 11.5 inch. Clark. So we take and that more big. Thanks to some good fortune that Kevin has it. You can certainly regret there. He's got 90k. The other end of the Zewski with 8 big. And then Toppy will have to find shove spots that they can maybe achieve. It's a tricky little hand here. Pocket 2s. 2 shrivel up sub 30 bigs here, bigs. Even from the hijack, this is not hugely tempting. He is going to open it though. Tricky ones to play. Prefer to have a blocker on a pair, ironically. Makes life a little bit easier. The Baker got this one suited 2-gapper. He's going to flop on 9-5 for Baker, pocket 2s for Cody Rubin, who won't love that board texture. May fire a small C bet trying to go back, but could also just as easily check this one back. Does go for the ladder. And it's up a flush draw, baby flush draw with the king of clubs turn. Don't really see any reason for Phil to bet this one. And don't really see any reason for Cody Rubin to bet this one unless he wants to sort of rep what he's going to do here. So disregarding the actual value of his hand and just deciding he'd like to take this one down. Awareness there. Quite like that bet from Cody Rubin. Manages to nudge Phil Baker off the winner. So, entertaining table it must. I've thoroughly enjoyed being taken by these guys. Phil begrudgingly giving up his small there with the 9-3 off. Usually showing him that. He had a hand he would have got 51k, just 8 big blinds, the 8-7 suited would have more than qualified.
Home advantage.
No way.
Not a great kicker, but a nice ace.
Thank you.
Phil on the button now. And Werdnich under the gun with the ace-4 off. I think probably a fold in most worlds, but maybe feeling like the wind's at his back right now with the 540k stack and a bubble looming as well. Decides he's going to take the initiative here, bump it up to 12k. Certainly a signal of intent. Going to show similar signals of intent here as a Cody Rubin with the Django's, pocket kings, good for a raise here. Cody Rubin's playing 147k, so 25 bigs roughly. And looks as though he's made it. Oh wow, it looks like he's flatted the kings. Trappy, trappy. I was going to say, it would be a little tricky to flat this one and maybe hope for a squeeze behind. That's exactly what he's got. Rashbauer has the pocket tens, goes for the small squeeze to just 30k, kind of an initiative taking bet. Something Darren and I about on commentary a couple of days ago, that is an in vogue bet right now, the small 3 bet that just sort of allows you to take control in position. But Cody Rubin going nowhere here. He's going to back raise these kings and almost certainly get called by the tens. Unless he wants to continue his push. I think springing the trap now is pretty reasonable. Wow, and a snap call of the 10. Great awareness from Rashbauer. Goes for that initiative taker and then went back raised by the sides. This is vicious, and I'm actually going to get it. Tremendous instincts by her there. Got value from that information. Small three. I think if I'm Cody Rubin, I think going for the non-all-in size was a bit of a teller mark. I think if you ship it in, you can look like pocket nines or ace queen, and you're just again and continue to work very nicely. Stand in play only 9-8 here and a bit of a spot. Blinds 9 high doesn't look here. He's taking a little bit of a gamble if he goes with it. Now it's close one off. I don't think she's there. Does let it go. Wise, good patience there. Rewarded because Anderson was lurking behind the ace. He's only so they go for the limp trap or may go for a raise or may go for a shove here. Leader and on all in small blind 3 size. Good job. See there on the left, KK Poker, one of the sponsors of this Bratislava Poker Festival, also sponsored by Unibet and iPoker, who sent qualifiers to this event. That's it's running. It's running too. Beautiful. Weekend. Summer poker. City. Great food, culture.
Well, I mean, we don't take the order, but
So funny,
yesterday because the drunk Polish guy, he was like having
The guy that left.
he was having a great time and he
Yeah.
was shouting and he was pissing everybody off. Like everybody's really annoyed him. Still about it, I don't care. So he was yap. He was in their ear all the time, so it was funny. And then there was the 10 minutes of hell for him. He's kings against ace king. Their man hits the ace in the river.
I heard it like 10 times.
Well, no, the best was, so next hand he gets tilt, absolute tilt, ace, 3, gets it all in, boom, destroyed, down to shrapnel. And he's going on about it for 45 minutes. His man was broken, he's moaning a bit. And then you sit down and he's fucking hand, and you go, why, what happened? And just started all over again. It was just so funny, it was perfect timing.
Troublemaker.
Perfect timing because he was actually a nice guy. He was just a mega tilt. See the fella yesterday, the drunk Polish lad? Shouting, screaming, and bouncing around the place. Oh, it was so funny. He got horrible beat. Conrad, exactly. He had somebody sitting on my shoulder watching him for the whole game.
I liked him, he got on about him, but he was drunk though.
But he wasn't insulting anybody, and he wasn't giving anybody.
But he's been drunk for 3 days.
One of this, we're Irish,
Oh, I was able to deal with it perfectly, but he thinks I'm his best friend.
yeah, no, I was able to say no problem.
Yeah, you are. He thinks you're his other best friend.
The other boys were not happy at all.
Tell my players to join me. Next stop for tickets over 11 euros. No, it's not like a bigger one like this. It's doing the satellite.
My ace was too weak. Da steht da der Bruder, wenn es nicht auskennen.
Eurobot.
Aber es ist ein anderes Gebiet, wenn du was man ärgert sich nicht. Es ist unnötig geworden. Von Oberkohl da noch. Die großen Sofort.
What you went up with them? 130. Roughly. 130. Roughly. What then? So you've about 80 to 90 left, yeah? Well, I'm only asking, you don't have to tell me, you can just show me if you want.
60, 80, 90, 95.
Is it Janks or Ace king. More jacks. What? More than jacks. More than jacks.
I'm not saying that it's jacks, but it's kind of like jacks.
Kind of like jacks. Kind of like jacks. Jacks. When you don't have kings, you don't have aces. I know this. So, then you're fucked.
I have two pair, of course, but
Eights you have or something like this.
a little bit better.
No,
But not as good as jacks.
So a little bit better than eights. There's nines there. I think, hold on, I'm Irish and I'm stupid. Oh, let me work this out. Possibly tens.
I'm telling you,
The only argument is Palma.
was it a good fault?
Well, if you didn't have a queen, it was a good fault. You were definitely behind.
Thanks.
Well, you gotta play the game, don't you? I don't have ace kings, that's the only thing you need. 1,000,000%.
Dann hat er auch eine auch die Manufaktur
Now the tackle. In that area, yeah, one up here. No way ahead.
I don't know if I'm dead. Ja.
Das war der Moment. Hey, no, no, hier. Und? Ja, boah, thank you.
Just by the seat.
Ding hoor. Cool.
With the ever passive Calaric digestive course versus Cody Rubin, who's opened it up with the King Jack suited here. I get 3-bet by Calaric out of the small, and does have the kind of hand that doesn't mind calling here. It is a big raise though, nice size from Calaric, clearing out pesky hands such as King Jack suited that be able to play the rest of the hand in position. Quite nice. And something I pointed out with Darrow Carney just a couple of nights ago, the standard very good here. Obviously these regulars to the card casino in Bratislava get plenty of poker action. There's big festivals on here every second weekend or so. And then the travelling contingent obviously very experienced as well. So here's a man we saw a little bit of a couple of nights ago, Boyakovsky. He's brought 445k with him. And once he gets those chips out of the rack, he's going to look down at a very pretty ace-queen suited. In fact, he has taken a peek and will get this party started. Verdnich right behind with King Queen out, decides that Wygotsky maybe would have taken a hand off there and taken out the chips in his own time had he not looked down at a premium. Gets away nicely there with King Queen. Neat fold. Quick fold from Phil Baker. And action on Kazuski, who is really short now. Just 4 bigs, 10 deuce. It's just so grim. He's got a wry smile, maybe feeling like it's not going to be his day here, as he's almost by death of 1,000 cuts been bled out of this tournament. Staying tight for now, going to look for a spot in the next orbit. Pretty 10-9 suited here for Berdnich.
Yeah, but sometimes I want to make a tricky, you know?
A bit surprised by that fold actually. I thought maybe those
If you understand, you know?
suited connectors, given how we've seen him open a little bit wider, obviously aware that he can lean some ICM pressure onto at least half the table.
Just asking
But does decide to bin the 9-10 suit on this occasion. Cody Rubin with the ace queen definitely qualifies +1 here. And Rashbauer right behind with the ace jack suited. These guys playing very similar stacks. And about the 25 big blind mark. Look at all these aces here. Jankowski going to join the party with ace 10 off. And it'll be interesting to see how this one proceeds. Pearl Kazuski. Dreamy squeeze spot there if he could have got something in and got isolated by the first guy, but 2-3, my goodness, really getting punished. Bugreski make the call here with the 7-4 suited. He's got that area of the board all to himself. These guys all blocking each other right now. Dealer fans, the 10-8-4 and Tufts, the weakest of the ace-x hands, has actually gone way out in front. Wojciechowski has bottom pair and just a hint of bad backdoors. Cody Rubin is going to c-bet this one. A little surprised by that. 10-8-4 rainbow. That should clear out Rashbauer, but it won't get rid of Antofsky just yet now. We've seen him proceed in a cautious and circumspect manner in the previous going. I think that's probably helping to inform the decisions behind. Now Cody Rubin really a little overly optimistic, it must be said, with this ace-queen c-bet into 3 players. Board has got even more straighty now. Very hard to fire a second shell at this one. I think he has checked it over to Antofsky, center of your picture, who is probably just wondering if there's any merit to making a bet here. Well, we see there the ace-jack from the flop would have found a path to victory, but Cody Rubin really can't start repping this, I don't feel. And Antofsky would be happy to get the showdown. Oh, look at this! Very cheeky from a Cody Rubin. He's going to try and represent the Jack X here, 30k into 110. Very small sizing, but maybe recognising the kind of customer he has, somebody who is a little on the nitty side. Wow! Sick bluff from a Cody Rubin, who I think really sized up his opponent well there. Felt like he was up against a one pair hand and thought that bet would get the job done. Normally you'd need to go a larger sizing, but I think he realised versus that particular opponent that a small size could make for a cheap bluff spot. Amazing stuff. Those of you joining late, this is the Bratislava Poker Festival 2024 main event, day 2 coverage. The first feature table of the day is featured none other than Irishman Phil Baker, who has made hay. He brought a lot of chips to this table, but he's also added something to the pile over this 2-hour block. We see one of the other action players here, Kalaric, who I believe is chipped up quite handsomely as well. He's going to kick things off with the ace-10 suited here from the hijack. Round to Verdnich, who has a very defendable queen-5 suited. These guys playing fairly deep as well. Effectively 50 big blind deep. Kalaric. Flop is Jack 8, 1 heart, 2 diamonds. So Verdnich with the backdoor hearts, backdoor straight kind of stuff working for him. Kalaric with the betting lead, most importantly here. Just ace-10 on a paired board, best hand 3, likely to be still the best hand versus the big blind range, and he's just going to go for some equity denial. 8k into 38. That does tempt a hand such as the double backdoors of Verdnich to continue in some form, sometimes for a raise, sometimes for a call. Oh, and look at this, it's developing. The card, Ace of Hearts, making Kalaric aces up, bringing Verdnich the second nut flush draw. Every reason to check this street though, Kalaric. His opponent could have Jack X and he's unlikely to call with 8x, so maybe he prefers passive approach. He is going to go for it though. Look to deprive some diamond combos of their equity, charge them to draw, maybe still put some pressure on an 8. And Verdnich, 40k, needs to manufacture some more chips out of this one. Not getting the right direct price, so very much had to get the right situation here, out of position where he could have bet river. Probably has to have some bluffs as well. I wonder if this 8 of clubs is one of those bluff cards. Oh, look at this. So he sort of played it like a jack. Tricky spot here for Kalaric, who will be thinking, okay, well I bet twice and got called twice. Certainly there can be some Jack X in there, 8x perhaps as well, although maybe they check it over to me. Now on the flip side of that, we've got some flush draws, diamonds and hearts are possible. Maybe a 9-10, maybe a queen 10 for the turn double gutter. Kalaric with the 10 in his hand, he is unblocking hearts and diamonds, but he is blocking 9-10 and queen 10. So an interesting spot here. Credit to Verdnich for finding some bluffs. I did say that he wasn't getting the right direct price to draw here, so would have to make some chips when he hits out of position, which is never easy, or find some bluffs to have equity in those. He has manufactured the ladder, and this is genuinely tough for Kalaric, and is the downside of that turn bet. Normally a very under-bluffed line. The call small bet, call big bet lead river. Need to be up against a very capable opponent who would bluff that line. But I think it's going to work. Verdnich shaping to let it go, but not quite yet. Likely the internal monologue is going through the unblocking effects of his hand and also the blocking effects. Credit to Berdnich for a superb bit of creativity there, turning the worst hand into the winner. Seizing upon, as I mentioned, a very underbluffed line. Take down a pot he arguably did not deserve. That is what makes poker such a great game. So we take a gander to see that Berdnich now up very close to Phil Baker, 551k to Phil's 613k. Wojciechowski, who's just arrived, 437k. We'll get a little look at him before we go on break. And Kalaric, who has been very active, it must be said, put in the blender there in that last hand. Queen now for Rashbauer. Certainly a hand you can consider opening from early. Rock bottom does qualify. And some quick throws around to Phil Baker, who has the King 10 of diamonds here in the hijack. He's going to go for call or raise. Looks like raising chips were deployed. $31.5. And yeah, a little awkward for Rashbauer now. He is playing quite a short stack and showing some discipline there with the King-Queen fold, although he was scallywagged by Mr. Baker, who used the King 10 suited very nicely. A small 3-bet leaning into the stack of the 25 big blind rush hour. Nifty play there. Rashbauer having to surrender. As we take a look at the cumulative winnings of this session of Cody Rubin, also making hay in this frame. Phil Baker with a very legit hand, big slick, makes it 15k here plus 2. Action round to the button, and Berdnich going to pitch the 9-5, so only the blinds could potentially give Baker some action here, and it doesn't look like they will. Never a terrible outcome to raise and take it there with the ace-king. You certainly don't mind facing further action, but never a bad outcome to just take it down right there. Phil Baker chipping up here, and that is looking to do over the course of the next couple of hours. There's a great spot for him and the other big stacks in the room to widen up their ranges, aware that their opponents who are middle and short stack will have to tighten up theirs. Taking advantage of that gap is how we accumulate big stacks, which we can then take post bubble all the way to a final table. King Queen suited when the there Phil gets surprised by that. Absolutely fixing to get involved. Gives Kazuski the opportunity to stick it in here for 3 bigs with the King 10. He's going to get looked up by pretty much any 2 cards in the big blind, although he has picked the right guy. And Tufsky, definitely one of the tighter players. He has to pull off 14k more, but does find the foul with 9-5. So we are going to shove 3 bigs into anybody. He's the man.
Nice answer, nice answer. Domination
kind
or
of
no?
play on the
Being told now, you know he only had 3 bigs, yeah?
I had
I think he did know.
8-6.
I think he just didn't like 9-5 for 2 more of his.
Really, what? Better than me?
So, never a bad outcome when you can pick up
Second line.
almost a double up without showdown.
still in the mix.
Well, King 8, he might go straight away again. It's definitely bottom of range, but it's kind of close. And he does have a couple of guys who are a little on the tight side behind him to maybe get through. Looks like Polaric has made the call though in the big blind, closing the action. It's a pretty comfortable spot here with Ace-7. But King 8 very, very live here, 44%. And who would begrudge Kazuski, who has been very, very card dead and patient? A double up here, crucially. Well, there's the 8, so far so good. Way out in front now, Polaric hunting running cards or an ace. Well, that shuts the door. Double up for Kazuski, who now finds himself with 90k. Pretty nice turn of events when you consider he was down to just 22k a few moments ago. So quadrupling up over the course of 2 hands.
You might have given them more chips for him. 39.
Could be. Could be. I don't think it's double. How much was that now? How much was 39? 39.
You might be wondering why this frame has been more than 2 hours long. Well, very simple reason is we had a little bit of time left on a previous level. Rolling the blinds back to the earliest possible point meant that there was a little bit left on the level, and with that we'll play a slightly elongated frame here. Sixes here for Cody Rubin, opening things up in the hijack. Mystery hand for Antovsky right now. He's made the call on the button, and that's going to bring in Phil for a discount. 8k more here in the big blind to complete. Bear in mind, Antovsky, tightest player on the table here, probably has a pretty real hand here on the button. I think that's something the players will be aware of. King 10-5 does sort of feel like it might smash that Antovsky range.
Everybody please stay here, okay? I'm gonna give you any information.
After the time green when they do gonna be 20 minutes and also chicken for 5.
And with that, we are going to go on a break. Players are heading off for, I think it'll be about 15 minutes. Are we maybe going to squeeze one more in? I think that's what we're trying to ascertain.
Keep raise also.
No, I just want to give you that information. That's all. We swap the stakes. You will be table 6. After the race, you are table 6. Yes, that's
So I think the lads have been told they will play out until the clock ticks over. They can go off and have a break. Button versus Phil Baker in the big blind. Looks like Phil has made a move for this one. Takes it down. And these guys will go on a 15-minute break. So